I just want to get these two things out of the way before I get going on Liam, and then I'll return back to the topic at hand. When I said material, I meant photographs that were sent. That's all, nothing else. I just meant the photographs, the numerous photographs that were sent. Also, I didn't get confused or mixed up with Andrasta Wolf and Lydia. I know that money was raised for Lydia. And with regard to Andrasta Wolf, I don't think it really mattered to me whether Scott gave her the money out of his own pocket or whether he raised money for her. My point with the Andrasta Wolf thing was that he gave her money or resources in a time of need, and I thought that was highly commendable. You know, what's really interesting about Scott's reaction to my video is I actually say a lot of nice things about Scott, but he tends to focus, he ignores all the nice things that I say. It's never good enough for me just to say nice things. He wants me to say only nice things and he doesn't like any kind of constructive criticism, it seems. He even mentions that I should have spoken to him before I did the video. Consulted with him, I guess. But there is nothing in the video that, I said a lot of nice things about him. I said that he's loving. I said that he's protective. I said that he's written the nicest song. And in response to Andy, I don't care what his motivations were for writing that song for me. I love it. So I don't care what his motivations were. And he didn't know that I was the romantic type when he wrote the song either. He knew nothing about my that I was a hopeless romantic or that I liked Mills and Boone or anything like that. It was very, very early on when he wrote that song. And I don't care what his motivations were for doing so. I enjoy the song. I love it. Even my mom likes it, and my mom is very picky. So, um, also, Scott seems to think that I prefer Andy over him, and that I was being, sorry, and that I was more fair and understanding towards Andy, and that's simply not true. He also alludes to the fact that I might like Andy because he said something about her being like Bam, which I don't agree with. Andy is absolutely nothing like Bam. Go back and listen to Bam's recordings and then listen to Andy, and you'll see that they're two very different people. Andy might not be a saint, Andy might not be an angel, but she's no Bam. And I think that's quite I just want to set that straight. There's no preference here. I was trying to be objective in my opinions. I don't like Andy more than I like Scott. Scott also has a right to say what he does and doesn't want in his Discord. And I don't think the issue with people is that he unmodded people. I think it's the way in which he did it and the way in which he talked about the people he unmodded afterwards. I don't think it's for me, and I think for them, and I can't speak for them, but I get the impression that it's not the fact that he unmodded people that was the issue, but it's the way in which he did it and the way he spoke about them with such disregard afterwards. But I will digress here. Scott has a right to decide what he wants, what kind of conduct he wants in his Discord, and he has a right to say, "These are my rules. And if you don't follow them, you're out." Scott has every right to make up his mind on who he wants and what kind of behavior he is going to tolerate. So maybe I didn't make that clear, but I do not favor Andy in any way. I have spoken repeatedly of my fondness for Scott. Um, but it just seems like, and I even apologize to him if I've hurt him in any way. It just seems like no matter what I do or say, that I could say the most lovely things about Scott, but he's just never satisfied or completely happy. I can never do anything to completely please him. He's always going to be upset with something that I've done, and that's why things turned out the way they did. He wants to blame Andy and her friends, but it's not their fault. Um, I just felt like I could never ever do anything to please Scott, no matter how much I tried. It was never good enough. My efforts were never good enough. I'll get back to this in a minute. Um, so I was watching the TV and I was looking at my computer when I heard the news about Liam, and that I was really touched by that. I used to listen to Liam a little bit because he makes urban music, I subsequently found out that he was dropped by his record label. I don't know if this has anything to do with his later state of mind. He had a child with Cheryl, and that relationship broke down, and then he seemed to go through a lot of women. Like he just had like new girlfriend after new girlfriend. I think he even had a fling with Naomi Campbell, which I think was later confirmed. And he seemed a bit directionless to me. I think the moral of the story here is that you can have all the money in the world and all the success in the world. It doesn't necessarily um, make someone happy. And I don't think he was happy before, his end. Um, but I was very touched by it all, and I did feel sadness. And I think the public reaction to it has been really, really touching as well. Um, but I know it was something so unexpected and out of the blue. I never expected that I would hear that this has happened. But I guess this is a part of life. Everything will come to an end one day. Um, and I will get on to what I'm going to talk about now, in the next segment. Scott, you've been caught red-handed saying you love me. I love her, and I have to tell the world. Twitch Simcast. Now that's the original title under the video. Twitch Simcast came later when it was edited by somebody else. You've been caught red-handed, Scott. I knew when I saw this title, I love her and I have to tell the world, that you were going to play my song and do my video, either one, and you did both. But all joking aside, I've told Scott many times how much I adore him, and it's still not good enough. I've told him so many times how much I absolutely adore him, and but he's just exhausting. He will exhaust all of my energy, and I've already explained to him why I'm not going to participate on his channel in any shape or form, why I prefer to be a silent watcher and a distant admirer, and that's because of how he is. I've explained it to him even in an email why I won't participate on his channel, and he doesn't seem to understand. Has nothing to do. I adore him. It's not because I don't adore him, it's because of my past experience. I had a bad experience on Bam's channel, and it didn't have a good outcome, and it still doesn't have a good outcome. The legacy that she left was, still has an effect on me. So that's one of the reasons I don't want things to turn sour between us, and they already have. But I think it would be a lot more worse if I was more involved in his channel. Um, things turned sour with me and Bam, and it's partly because I did take part. I did get too close to her. That's why I don't want to get too close, because that's why I tried to keep my distance for a while. It doesn't mean that I don't adore you. I adore you. Um, what's the other reason? Also, my decision not to be on a Discord interview, whatever it is nothing to do with Andy and Andy's crew. I've never felt in any way um, that they would have a problem with me going on your channel, or that I would feel um, that they would go after me in any way because of it. So that's something that's in your head, not mine. In fact, I wouldn't feel welcomed by your supporters and your subscribers. It's not about Andy and her people. It's your subscribers. I wouldn't feel, based upon their, they've told you that they don't want to hear about me. They're not keen on me. So why would I come on your show when they don't want me there? um, you know, they're not particularly pleasant to me, and they're not particularly pleasant towards Andy either. So why would I come on a show where your subscribers have said they don't want to hear about me anymore? Stop talking about me. So I would feel welcomed by you. Of course, I know that you would welcome me with open arms on your channel and on your show, but I wouldn't feel welcomed by your supporters. So why would I go on? I wouldn't, even if somebody invited me to their party, if the people there uh, were not nice to me, or not, they didn't welcome me, or didn't respect me, I wouldn't want to go to that party. So I don't, it has nothing to do with Andy. It's more to do with my experience with Bam. I got too close to Bam, and it was a very bad outcome. That's why I don't want to get too close. I want to keep some distance. Um, And I've told you this in an email. I've told you for other reasons why I don't want to get involved in your live streams. You've been persistent. You've asked me many times, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to interview me or talk to me. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But because of my past experience with BAM, I just do not want to get involved in that way. You know, is a Discord the only way that you can communicate with somebody? No. Why does it have to be your way or no way at all? And why does it have to be? I've explained to you so many times why. So one of the reasons was my past experience with BAM and the bad experience I had um, by getting too close to her and being involved. It was not a good outcome. I don't want that to happen to us. And it's partly because, I wouldn't feel welcomed by your subs. That's the other reason. And I also think the reason is because of what happened with the people that participated in your channel and your ex mods. You don't have a good relationship with them, and they were very involved in your Discord. They were very involved with your channel, and it didn't have a good outcome. These are all the reasons why I don't want to be in the same boat with them. I've explained it so many times. But is it flattering that you've asked me a few times and that you want me on your channel? Is it flattering to me? Of course it's flattering, darling. But I just don't want to do it. And part of me has accepted that there's nothing that I can do that is ever going to please you. Nothing. I've accepted it and I've let it go. But that doesn't mean that I don't adore you. I do. In summation, Scott loves women. He loves women, and he doesn't need me. I think he's got. I think he's going to have success where that is concerned. He doesn't need me. Um, I have not completely closed the door on Scott though, so I'm not saying to watch the space. That's not what I'm saying. But I haven't closed the door completely on him at all. I just wish that he could just kind of uh, just change a little bit and not be so paranoid. And what I wish he would be more trusting, and I wish he would be more um, less controlling. The door hasn't completely closed on him. I have not completely given up on him completely, um, but I'm not holding my breath. And I accept that there's nothing I can do to completely please him, and there's nothing that I can do. um I just have to let it go, and I just have to let him go, let him have his fun, let him do his thing. That's how I look at it. um what else, what else? So yeah, there's no preference to Andy. There's no preference to Andy. I hope that I've been fair once again in this podcast. I hope I've made my feelings clear. I hope it's finally understood now where I stand, and what my point of view is. I could have said more, and I could say more, and I might say more in the future, but this is how I intend to leave things. This is my position at the moment. And I think I've been fair to everyone, as fair as I can be, as fair as I can be. I'm really enjoying. I can't wait for Halloween, and I wish the temperatures would drop a little bit. And the temperatures are still quite high in England. This is one of the reasons why I want to leave England. Um, in parts of the world, it's -15 at this time of year. We're in like double digits. I wanted a cozy, chilled fall, but actually, yesterday was very, very sunny here, very sunny in Totteridge. Anyway, I hope that I did the people that I spoke about. I hope I did everything justice. I hope I did everyone justice, and I hope people understand where I'm coming from, because I always try to be fair with the topics I deal with and the people that I talk about.